My name is Lulu DeBoer, and in 2019, I created a labyrinth. The theme of that year's labyrinth was werewolves, because as a filmmaker, I felt this need to really transform my art, and by doing a sort of experiential haunted house narrative art exhibit, I was really hoping to transform my craft. That year we hosted our labyrinth right behind the Trayvon Martin mural, before they added Breonna Taylor and George Floyd. And a lot of creating the labyrinth was really like putting a lot of my own subconscious fears into like one tangible arena. Something about making art, especially collaboratively, you start to get into this creative state of flow. And the first scene in the labyrinth was really going on my sort of fears of police and societal unrest, and it was a crime scene with a police officer kind of ushering you through the space. After the crime scene, you kind of walked down a corridor and you saw this map of America. It was supposed to have sort of a viral outbreak on it to see where like something was spreading across the country. And then you walked into the nurses' station.
Hello?
Hello. Would you like a shot?
Flute? What?
And in the nurses' station, the nurse is trying very hard to get you to take shots. And I was kind of hoping people would ask, like, what's in the shot, right? Is it a flu shot? But the whole idea is that something has outbroken and you're supposed to get a shot. And as you continue through the labyrinth, you start to see these sort of like experimental scenes. You quickly start to realize that the shots are maybe causing people to transform as well. And so you start to see a half-transformed she-wolf who's in a cage, calling for her baby, and she's howling to her other partner, who's like a full wolf, as you start to continue through the scene. Now, as the full wolf chases you through the labyrinth, you finally get to where they are butchering the meat, and get chased out by a pig holding a chainsaw. And I think part of that for me at the time was a sort of like commentary on our production for food, but also like this idea that we are a commodity to be like cut, chopped, and sold. And then as you exited the labyrinth, you entered into sort of the party area where there was fire dancers and performances and just like a general good time. And it was really turned into a party with all my friends and all of the artists who had helped to participate. And I was very grateful. And it was an amazing experience, but it left me with this sort of uncanny feeling that, I hate to use the word prophecy, but that in 2020, a lot of those themes had carried over. And now, it was almost like living in the world of the labyrinth that I had created. The labyrinth is within me, and I am. weird when you start to mix the variables of like space and time. When I was making the first labyrinth, time seemed to kind of warp and bend and flow, and when you are an artist in a state of flow, it's almost like you get a sort of extra sense of the world. It's as though there is an algorithm in one's mind, and in this creative state of flow, you start to notice patterns and subtle differences in the stories around us. You are truly present and you start to notice the patterns in the world and synthesize them and repeat them, then it's only a matter of time before others can do the same. One of the other aspects of a labyrinth is the essential nature that it's not a maze. There's a difference between labyrinths and mazes, and part of walking a labyrinth with other people is that it creates a sense of community. I know that I felt one while building the first labyrinth. I'm starting to realize that the walls that I built in my labyrinth were just a metaphor for the walls that keep us all separated from each other. I'm still a little haunted by Labyrinth 2019 and how it bled into the reality of 2020. It scared me off creating any more prophecies during 2020, and so when I did Labyrinth 2.0 or Labyrinth 2020, I stayed away from as much gore as I could and created more of an escape room style mystery. It was dedicated to the blue moon because, funny enough, Halloween 2020, Labyrinth 2020 fell on the blue moon, and so it was almost like a once in a blue moon moment. I was almost afraid to do another spooky labyrinth this year for 2021, but I did come to realize that everyone who was involved in Labyrinth 2019 and Labyrinth 2020 was somehow protected from all of the mayhem and devastation that followed. And so I truly hope that I can bring everybody to this year's Labyrinth and also fold them in under that. And moments like that made me realize that truly our greatest protection is not a shot, is not our systems of power, but perhaps the biggest protection we have as artists or even just as citizens of the world is to protect each other as a community. There are so many communities in this world, some more tangible than others, some virtual, and after 2020 and after 2019, this year in Labyrinth 2021, I decided to focus on that community space, the sort of labyrinth without walls, the digital worlds that we are invested in as people and have real and tangible effects on our lives. Either way, I hope that this labyrinth continues to protect everybody that enters, and that we as a community can truly start to see beyond the walls and beyond the labyrinth, and maybe find something about ourselves in the meantime.
Yeah.
If you guys want me to make another Labyrinth video about Labyrinth 2020, please like and subscribe. And I'm hoping that this video starts a whole series of, maybe I'm getting a little preachy now, but if you want to stay tuned for a hint on where Labyrinth 2021 is, please stay tuned to the end of this video.